I wonder if the person who prompted the AI blames themselves or blames the AI.
You're embarrassing, you're sloppy, you're lazy, and therefore I will never speak to you again. Well, here we are again. And what a time to be alive. I mean, most of you know who've been here for a while, I love drama. And in some ways, I am grateful to be a millennial because I have witnessed so much drama. And let me clarify. I am not in support of a world war. I'm not in support of anyone dying. I'm not in support of any of that messed up crap. But the drama is, I'm really getting my fix from the news every day, and it is causing me to be less dramatic in my own life. So I'm creating less problems in my own life because I'm able to open my phone every morning and look at the state of the world, and I'm like, I don't really need to be contributing to this chaos, really.
The Real Housewives just don't cut it anymore. They don't. It's not enough.
That's it. The bar for chaos has been set so high with what is happening in the real world that, a lot of these reality shows, they don't cut it anymore. It's like, anyway, we don't want to get too dark right off the bat. Let's lighten things up a little bit. Jess and I are we both tried a different lip color. I'm going darker. She's going lighter.
I'm scared.
Let us know what you think. See how versatile we are? We can seamlessly pivot from tragedy to lip gloss. You guys, okay, so I know as usual we're trying to jam pack so much stuff into 1 hour, so we might as well just get it started. I'm gonna kick us off if you're okay with that, Jess. Before we go any further, if you're new here, welcome. This is Artificial Insanity. We talk about big tech, AI, we shit talk billionaires. We're really just trying to figure out, is big tech and AI going to cause an apocalypse on a week-by-week basis? And we still can't tell you whether or not it is, but maybe next week we'll be able to tell you. We'll see. Okay, so I wanted to, first of all, share a little experience that I've been having that is AI related on many different levels. It's a multi-layered AI situation. So Jess and I obviously have an email inbox for all of our podcast related things. Funnily enough though, it's not the email address that we say at the end of each show if you need to reach out to us. That email address is artificialinsanitypodcast@gmail.com. This is another email address that we had when we first started, and it's much more unhinged and childish. I won't say it now because we don't want emails coming to that address. If you have something to say to us, go to artificialinsanitypodcast@gmail.com. However, we get an insane amount of emails to this original email address that we created that we no longer tell anybody about. And I monitor both of the inboxes. So if you ever reach out to us, you're going to be interacting with me. You can ask me for all the tea on Jess and I'll tell you everything, and then I'll delete our email thread so that she never fucking knows. She's actually she has no dirt, you guys. She's so wholesome.
Clean as a whistle.
She really is. Okay, so long story long. I'm getting fucking spammed like there is no tomorrow. And it's not regular spam. It's very specific spam. It is either publicists or people who are self-publicizing, pitching themselves for our show. Now, keep in mind, this is a very new show. We've been doing this a few months, so we are just starting to get subscribers. So originally I was like, this is really weird. Why would someone want to pitch themselves so hard to be on a show that has a few hundred subscribers? Like, don't they want to wait until we at least hit 1,000? And then after responding to a couple of these, what I realized is they must be somehow using AI to scrape some type of content on the internet of literally every single podcast that talks about AI. And then they are doing a mass email blast that I now know the exact formula of. They'll say, "Hi, Sophie and Jess, I loved your episode about," and then they'll pick one of our recent episodes and they'll break it down and add their own little, like, "I loved it how you talked about job insecurity. It was really insightful, blah, blah, blah." Then they'll pitch. They'll do their pitch for what they want to say on the show, and then they'll say, "Looking forward to hearing from you." This was how I discovered it was just complete spam. And maybe some of you guys are listening and you're like, "Duh, Sophie, of course it was fucking spam. Why would..." But it's like this situation, like, you know, back when I used to have a huge ego, if I would get love bombed by a guy that I was dating, I believed it completely, because I was like, of course you would fall in love with me in 24 hours. Like,
It's like a creepy guy at the mall being like, you could be a model. Should I take your picture? Yeah. And you're like, of course I would be scouted in the street.
Totally. Like, I'm 5'2", but of course you're asking me to be a supermodel. Yeah, of course. 100%. So it was those vibes. I was like, maybe they just found us and were like, we don't care that they've only got a few hundred subscribers. We want on this show because we know they're going to be huge. I was like, of course we're going to be huge. You're here early. Congratulations. Come on in. Let's chat. And then I realized pretty quickly when they didn't respond after begging to come on the show, that it was a spam, whatever. I don't know what software these people are using. It must be some type of publicist software, that I realized that that's what it was. And there was one lady, one publicist, that I tried to start a fight with after I realized that this was spam. And I think I was mad because she was pitching this girl who's a comedian, and I liked the girl. I knew of the girl. I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of her. I like her work. And so I emailed this lady back and I was like, bring her on the show. Let's talk. What would she like to talk about? And then the publicist didn't respond. And I then emailed the publicist back and I was like, did you seriously, as a professional publicist, just do a mass spam email out to literally everybody? I was like, that is so lazy. She never responded. And I almost wanted to go to the girl that she had been hired to do publicity for and say, hey, just so you know, your publicist is fucking lazy and she's giving you a bad look by putting your shit out to everybody and then ghosting them. She's getting you haters. I almost did that, and then I was like, I don't have time. And it's petty as fuck, but I wanted to. Anyways, okay. So the other element of all of this is that the products are all sort of AI based. We've got all kinds of crazy shit. And a lot of it, I'm just like, who is buying this stuff? Who is purchasing these products? A lot of insurance stuff, finance stuff, healthcare stuff. And it really is making me fully comprehend that this AI boom right now is sort of like a gold rush. It's sort of like if you're creating some type of software with AI, you are essentially trying to just buy a lottery ticket. And if you create like 100 different AI products and throw them out there and see if anyone buys them, you're essentially kind of just buying like 100 lottery tickets. And the result of just this epic output, just output, it's fucking gross, and I'm sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it. So if you want to pitch to artificial insanity, because we are growing, so like soon guys, it's going to be hard to get a slot on this show. If you want to pitch to me, send me one sentence, be like, yo, what's up girl, love your lip gloss. Yeah, like, don't come at me with your AI. And I will say, I said this to you yesterday, Jess, when I now see an email come into the inbox that's short and poorly written with bad grammar, bad spelling, weird sentence structure, I'm like, hey, Yay! A human wrote this. I love it. I love it. That is the way to get attention right now. It's like how I said a few weeks ago. It's like these AI influencers they're AI generated influencers, and they're all like beautiful, gorgeous people who are flawless. We're in a bubble right now where most people can sort of are getting wise to like what an AI email looks like, what an AI generated influencer looks like. People are getting wise to that, but we're still not at a point in society yet where there's a backlash and a disgust for that. But I think the output is so intense and it's happening at such a huge scale that it's only a matter of time before this polished AI slop everywhere is going to be like a hell no. If you come at me with something like that, you are going to be seen as completely ingenuine, and the way to get people's attention is to be rough around the edges. End of rant. Sorry, I really just started this episode off with a 12-minute rant. Did that go for 12 minutes? I'm going to have to cut that down.
No, I loved
time.
every minute of it.
Okay, so I do just want to say, you guys, I wanted to share like the most unhinged, I shouldn't say unhinged because I might go to hell, literally, because it's about Jesus. It's about Jesus. Guys, who would have thought the most unlikely combo, AI meets Jesus Christ.
Sounds like a dream to some people I know.
Right, you're from the Bible Belt. I'm not going to say the name of this brand because I don't want to like fully make fun of it. But this was one of the headings I got.
Oh no.
I kind of do want to make fun of it because he used the AI template. So the title of the email, Why Believers Can't Find Biblical Answers. Okay? And this was his email. So first he does the spiel. It's AI generated. Hi, Sophie and Jess, your State of the Union on AI episode drew out blah, 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 blah. Then he gets into his pitch in the next paragraph. As someone who's been both a believer and a tech innovator for over 15 years, I found myself right at the intersection. My latest project, I won't say the name, but you can imagine what it would be, is an AI-powered guidance app for Christians, a kind of digital companion for finding scripture-based answers when real-life challenges hit outside of Sunday. Backed by original research with over 200 believers, I'm actively working to show where AI can respectfully support pastoral care while keeping faith and humanity at the center. Like, who would have thought? With everything, it's infiltrating everywhere. So
wow.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. But you know the other last thing I'll say about this and then I'll stop. But they also, this AI system also follows up. If you ignore them, which I do now because
what?
It
follows
up. Right. So
it knows that you haven't responded.
Yes, it knows that you haven't responded. And these people must just have no shame about looking bad. It's such a short-term, tactic. It's a short-term tactic. I don't know if anybody out there watching this is a creator of any kind, but, you know, I came from the filmmaking world. I'm now sort of in tech/content creation world, but you're always taught you have to build relationships over time. And they always say in Hollywood, when I was coming up, like working in the film industry, everybody was always like, you have to be nice to everyone's assistant because you never know who those people will turn out to be. Sure, they might be making minimum wage right now and getting bagels and coffee and shit, but they will work their way up, and if they do and you're a fucking asshole to them when they're an assistant, they'll remember you. They will remember you. And that's kind of how I feel about this. I'm like, how embarrassing. What a terrible look to have this AI system chasing you. It literally will chase you. It will send 3 follow-ups. It will send the original email. If you don't respond to that, it will send a follow-up. If you don't respond to that, it will send another follow-up. And you know what? I think the reason why I'm so fired up about this, and why it's like triggered me is, Jess, I know you've been in a very healthy relationship for 10 years and you're now engaged to the love of your life. Me, on the other hand, have spent a very long periods of my life entertaining toxic men. And for anyone else who's done that, you're fully aware there is a trope in the dating scene of a particular guy who will chase you and chase you and chase you, and you're originally not that interested. You're like, oh God, I don't know, like not really, but look, whatever, he's persistent. Okay, guy, I'll go out with you, I'll give you a chance. And then maybe you're like, he kind of wins you over a little bit. As soon as you show interest, he's like, oh, no, I'm not looking for anything serious. Sorry, like I'm done. Like that is a trope. And I've seen that too many times, and now I'm seeing it here, and I'm like, I cannot accept this. And I want to say to each and every one of these people, you're embarrassing, you're sloppy, you're lazy. And therefore, I will never speak to you again. If this show ever gets big, I'm keeping a shit list. I'm keeping a shit list of every person who has put their AI slop out to us. And when this show really takes off, I'm going to check that shit list, my AI slop database. And when I see a pitch come through, I'm going to check the database. And if they are on it, I will let them know why we are rejecting their pitch. I'm really finished now. I'm done, I promise. It's over.
I mean, I have literally nothing to add because it's perfect. You fucking knocked it out of the park. And I'm fully on board. Like, if that was you trying to get me on board for anything, like, I'm fully signed up.
We are now at 18 minutes and 48 seconds into this recording. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. I freaking love it.
Listen, the rest of I'm going to trim that. I'm going to trim that way
Don't
down.
Trim a fucking second. I also think too, the part that's really gross is that like that marketer or that publisher is coming back to their client being like, I reached out to 800,000 podcasts. And they're going to be like, whoa, how many did you get a hit back? I don't know. Who knows how many people are responding to these, but it's just like, I'm sure their AIs are responding to their AI. And then I hope that AIs are setting up to podcasters to be on a podcast without them knowing it. And they show up to see who their guest is. And it's like, oh, you're a Christian guidance app. It's got to be a disaster.
Would love it. I would love that. I hate laziness. I fucking hate laziness. And this is so lazy. It's so sloppy. Like, it literally is AI slop. You're messy. You're fucking messy and you're embarrassing.
Okay, side note. The other thing about the Bible guidance app is super sus because I had a pastor who would only read directly from the Bible. And he wouldn't and then I had another pastor who would always show the quote on screen instead of reading out of the Bible. Okay. And the pastor who read from the Bible was like, I will never put a quote on screen because the Bible is known for being skewed, mistranslated, taken out of context. And so he's always making sure you got to read the actual Bible. Don't let somebody else sort of cherry pick from the Bible or be able to twist its words and tell a full congregation something that the Bible didn't say. And if there's anyone that you shouldn't trust to pull and quote scripture in a time of need, it is artificial intelligence. I can totally see AI making up so much crap from the Bible that's not even there.
You're absolutely right. I'm going to tell you at the very end of this episode a little bit about AI being used for good, but we're going to go in more detail today about AI being used for bad. And I think, Jess, you're right. This is allowing grifters, people who are dishonest, people who want to manipulate. This is just another tool for them to manipulate. The meanest shit I ever see people saying online, if you go to the person's profile, they have their little biblical cross in their bio. Like, white Christian nationalists are fucking mean, and they are constantly misquoting. They're constantly misquoting the Bible to push their own agenda. So I can absolutely see this app, like, you know, somebody might type into the app, I'm a young man and I kind of want to have bum sex with another man. What should I do? And the thing will be like, Jesus says, and then make up some bullshit thing about sodomy or something. And then, like, you should go to a conversion camp. Sorry, I just went from 0 to 100, but...
For you. Okay, wait. This is not on our outline, but I have to tell you this.
Okay, tell me.
There's this app that I heard about that these like this is like every one of our stories now, where like two 22-year-olds like made a ton of money making an app. And the app was to help men with their porn addiction, or like stop masturbating. And the way it worked is you would pay the app. You would give your money to the app, and it would only give it back to you if you abstained, if you like didn't masturbate for a certain amount of time. So like, let's say you gave it like $20 and it was like, I'll give you $1 back a day that you don't. And these poor young, and most of the men using it were under 18. So they're just like, they're like, I guess, really honorable and honest boys, because they are paying these people and then not getting their money back because they're not able to quit their addiction. And
God.
I'm not exaggerating when I say the guys who started this app are rolling in dough, buying fancy cars, mansions.
I bet.
And
I bet
have
they
made
are.
a ton of money. And then all the data leaked. And so the names of all of the underage minors, all of the users, including their masturbating habits, have been leaked.
My
And
God.
there's evidence that a chat basically got leaked of somebody saying, hey, to the CEO, hey, like, I found this vulnerability in your code. You need to fix it. And him being like, oh yeah, that's a big deal. I'll get on that. And then he never did. And then all
doesn't
their
give a
stuff
fuck
leaked.
as long as he's getting his cash money.
Yep.
Oh,
Crazy, right?
listen, guys, just I know everybody is like saying how pornography causes so many problems, but just fucking watch your porn, you guys. Like, just you don't need to be like, just watch your porn and know that it's not real, okay? It's like, just know that it's not real and that that's not what women like in the bedroom. But if you want to watch it, just fucking watch it, okay?
Sophie, I don't know if I don't know if this podcast is appropriate, but Sophie, there's like a whole culture now of like, have you heard of gooning? We might have to cut
no,
this.
what is that? What is that?
There's a culture of like the right-wing internet boys who support basically masturbating whenever and wherever, and instead of like resisting porn and masturbation, just like pretty much trying to be in a state of orgasm 24/7. And it's called gooning. So if you ever hear something like that guy's a goon, like he's gooning, it's like this culture, this subculture obsession with like getting off 24/7. And you're saying watch your porn, but like now there's like a deep dark subculture of lives being people's families being broken up and lives being ruined because men are like so insane right now. They're so insane right now.
I know. I honestly want to start another show or like a service where I don't know if anybody would want it, but I see guys being told by other guys how to behave and how to think and how to like dominate women, and that shit has never worked. Maybe it will work for some really fucking traumatized MAGA women who don't know who they really are, but like if you want an actual hot, cool girlfriend who brings like some really cool shit to the table, oh my God, you can't be
It
listening
requires
to these
effort
guys.
though. It requires effort, unfortunately.
Right. They don't want to put in the effort. Just be nice. Just be kind. Just be fucking kind. And like, don't be a creepy piece of shit. Like, oh, listen, to you, incels, you can email me at artificialinsanitypodcast@gmail.com.
Sophie,
we can talk about this. I'll walk you through it.
It's my dream that we have like we have an office hour and angry men just come to us and we're just nice to them. Like that.
I know.
We're just nice to them.
Know.
That is the number one best thing we could do to heal the world is let men come in. They can say the nastiest, most terrible shit. They can show us their dick. They can show us their butthole. And we're just going to be nice. We're just going to be nice.
I'll be like, you have a beautiful butthole and don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
We
seriously.
could change the world.
Like, anyways, we've gone on a big tangent, but I've gone through my man hating phase after my experience with my really shitty deadbeat baby daddy. But I want the young men to be okay. I want the boys to be okay. I don't want men and women to hate each other. That's not the answer. Hating each other is not the fucking answer. And I also do think, I understand all these accounts online of women who are like, decent to men and fuck men and don't ever trust a man and blah, blah, blah. Like, I understand that. It's a backlash to a lot of women being fucked over by men, but it's also not going to get us anywhere productive.
No.
Yeah. Guys, we suddenly turned into a dating podcast today, but it's okay. Now we're going to talk about depressing tech. All right, let's talk about tech, baby. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk about tech. Okay. So, Sophie.
Yeah.
What does bombing Iran and not being able to overnight my mouth tape on Amazon have in common?
I honestly don't know. This feels like a trick question.
AI fucked it up real bad.
Got it. Tell me more. Say more.
So this month, AI has been fucking up like drastically, so bad. This month specifically, we have seen the true terror of what AI can inflict on us. And it's really like, we're hearing these stories all the time about like someone who used AI to do something really important and fucked it up. But this month felt particularly awful. I'm not even going to start with the worst one. I'm going to start with one that's very bad, which is Amazon had a 6-hour outage this week that you couldn't buy a product on their app. And for Amazon, that's a really big deal. And they had multiple AI server outages in addition to that. And this is all like these giant outages are happening more and more.
Yeah.
An email leaked that the SVP sent out to the company that was basically like, yeah, we know AI coding is causing these outages. And I know we've been pushing AI a lot, but like, maybe we should have a human verify it before we push it out. So
you think?
Yeah. So now they're having to roll out all these new procedures. They're having to hire more people. Of course, they're putting more responsibility on the senior developers to check the code and make sure. I get move fast and break things, but for someone like Amazon, 6 hours is a shit ton of money. So I was sort of shocked to see that. Like, we're all saying like, oh, AI coding is replacing workers, but like at the cost of just like major company outages. Like, is that worth it? It doesn't feel like it.
And Jess, the crazy thing is, if a human had caused that outage, can you imagine how quickly they would have been fired?
That is a really good point, and that is the through line you should be thinking about with these next ones I'm going to tell you, because that is the pattern we're already starting to see and that you can see in these stories, which is nobody's taking responsibility. And on one hand, I would argue is whoever's pushing the employees to use AI. And they're like being like, we want you to use AI for 80% of your work. So they are just doing what the company has pushed for them to do. But at the same time, we're going to talk about this in a second. You are seeing employees getting away with murder, because literal murder, and they don't have to take the blame for it because they can blame it on the AI, which brings me to the more extreme story, which is when the US bombed Iran and accidentally bombed a girls' school, and at least 175 people were killed, mostly children. And although it is not fully like they're launching an investigation into this, and so there's like that information hasn't been revealed, but people associated with the mission have leaked that it was because they used Claude to identify where to bomb, and that apparently where the school is now, it used to be a naval base and then it became a school. So the AI referenced old data telling the Pentagon, hey, this is a good place
Wow.
to bomb. And I
Wow.
guarantee you, a human probably would not have made that mistake. I'd
Right.
like at least not to like to think like there's probably ways you and I could put coordinates in right now and figure out what building is in a certain location. But when you're looking at old data, the AI, or if old data is in the training, you're really going to get a mistake like that. And the thing is it's very obviously, it very, very clearly was the US, because the bombing happened the same day all the other bombings happened.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't taken credit. And if, like, anyone who's asked about it in the military, they're all finger pointing because nobody wants to be associated with it. And AI is already being brought up in some of these leaked conversations because you can blame AI and maybe our hands are clean. So
Right. Right.
it's really unbelievable. And again, we're sitting here like so proud of Claude for standing up for their rights, but like Claude is still very much a military tool and
Right.
is being used in a way that is not guaranteed to be perfect. And it's just baffling that we're willing to use LLMs to decide where to bomb, and killing more people in a strike than more civilians in one strike in pretty much like US history. Like it's insane. Or US history in the last few decades. Insane.
So it's so bad. And I think if they continue to use LLMs in war, it adds this layer of moral murkiness in, because I'm sure, listen, I don't know anybody who has been in combat. I've never spoken to anybody who has been in an active war in combat. So I am just imagining here that if you are a soldier and you are in an active war zone, I am sure that if you have to fire a weapon that takes out another human being, that kills somebody, that you don't make that decision lightly. You're going to probably, unless you're completely desensitized, which maybe you are, but you're going to probably have to carry that with you for the rest of your life. If that moral aspect of it is removed, I don't know what that means long term. But I don't think it's good. I mean, yeah, it's so messy, so fucking messy.
I
Like,
wonder if the person who prompted the AI blames themselves or
maybe.
blames the AI. Like I wonder
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're right, that level of separation makes people sleep better at night and it makes you feel like you can get away with more because, oh, I didn't make the decision. It was AI. And we're just assuming, like, we have just all completely given up that AI verification step. And you and I have talked about this before, which is when you start using AI to get back time in certain areas. I obviously we need human verification, but it kind of takes just as much time. Like you
Oh,
like
yeah.
to go through and verify things that the AI has done, I would argue is just as much time, and it's a way less engaging. Like it just feels, I don't know how to say it. It's like way more painstaking to verify something than it is just create it yourself and do it like from scratch. So it's like if you are studying for something or you generate a report for work, but it's your job to verify it, That's like that's a really fucking long time. It would actually be faster for me to go analyze the data myself and write the report. And then when I go to present it to my boss, I don't even have to look at the slides. Yeah.
Totally. It is doing something to our brains. And as some of you guys know, I'm doing a postgrad degree at the moment. And we're allowed to use AI to help us prepare our assessment presentations and stuff. And yeah, if I use AI, it takes all the creativity out of it and it becomes me analyzing the data that it has output to me and going, oh, wait, that's wrong. It's not doing it's not answering the point of the essay and blah, 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 blah. And whereas if I just write it myself from scratch, it's going to require more brain power, it's going to require more creativity, but it's a more rewarding process in the long run. You know, it's maybe a little slower, but I'm retaining the information a lot more. Anyways, oh man.
So go
That
ahead.
brings me, are you going to mention what we witnessed firsthand?
Yeah, that was my next stopping point. So
That was wild to me.
so we even decided to do this topic. I mean, we obviously had heard these other news stories, but really the cherry on top was when you and I experienced this firsthand. Sophie and I attended a meeting, and it's a meeting that we're really flies on the wall at this company. And we go into the meeting, and Sophie, I think you might do a better job of describing what we witnessed in this meeting.
Yeah. So I've had experiences with this company for many years. I have seen how their workflow has evolved over the last 5 years. And before the AI boom, it was impeccable. Nothing would be released to the public in terms of the content and the product. Nothing would be released without all different kinds of checks and balances. It was very important, and whatever was facing outward to the public had to be impeccable, signed off by multiple people. In this meeting the other day, Jess and I witnessed somebody flagging that a whole bunch of assets had been put out for public consumption with all they were all like out of whack. There was all the text, the branding was cut off at the
Chopped,
top
as
of
the
the
kids would
reel.
say.
Chopped, literally chopped
Literally.
off. And so anyway, somebody was like, how did this happen?
Can I add that not only was this like a product from the company, but this was this particular product where the company had partnered with another brand that is arguably more finicky about things that they put into the public. So this was like doubling down on
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
what not to do. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. So, and I remember thinking when I heard this person come into the meeting and be like, guys, what happened? There were like all these reels that went onto our social media channels with they were like out of frame. There was a text cut off. There was like, the branding was not on there. I was thinking, fuck, oh shit, somebody's about to get fired. Someone's about to get fired. I was like, oh God, who's it going to be? And then lo and behold, the person who was the head of the department that published these assets said, yeah, we know. We're being asked to use AI because we're now trying to output way, way, way more content, and we're being asked to use AI to do it. So the AI did it, but like, it's okay because we have to keep up with all the other companies that are having way more output now with their AI.
They literally said quantity over quality.
Exactly. And I was shocked and appalled just to see how we really all are collectively as a society just being like, okay, like AI slop is acceptable now? I don't know.
For even the
I'm
biggest, most reputable brands.
Yeah. It's like I can't believe it.
And I feel like that has definitely been the MO all the way from the top because they are pushing to use AI. Sometimes I don't think they know. I don't think many people, even at the very top, know the consequences of using AI to that degree. But I think that when companies actually output slop or something gets broken or something's not perfect, I think it's actually signaling to investors and to shareholders, we prioritize output over quality, and we prioritize innovation over safety, and we prioritize moving fast and breaking things. And if you're breaking things, that means you're moving fast. And if you're moving fast, it means you care more about shareholder value than you do your customers. And that's how it's changed. The new
Yeah.
MO, the new business model is give your shareholders growth at all costs. And if you are delivering broken, chopped assets, you are actually showing that, yeah, actually, I was willing to risk my reputation to make sure we were moving at a hyper speed. But I think that circles back to your point, which is eventually when we can't see through the slop and we can't see through the blandness and we can't see through what's correct and what's right and what's broken and what's fixed, we're going to just look for smaller businesses or businesses that their brand is reputation. I feel like that used to be something we cared about, especially in the old days. It was like you looked for the reputable brand, you looked for the company that had good reviews, like actually good reviews and not bot reviews. And now because we can't tell, we are going to get to a point where we're actually seeking out reputable brands, and the brands that are able to verify that they don't move fast and break things will actually hold a greater place in the world. Not yet, but I think that tide will turn
Yeah.
eventually because they've put us on that track.
Oh, 100%. I think we are so close to that bubble of quantity over quality popping. You're already seeing it with like creator platforms. I feel like just a couple months ago, every few reels I would see on Instagram would be like, "Oh, let me show you how to create 100 reels in 1 hour using ChatGPT and Canva. Here's what you're going to do. Click here. And I would see this shit constantly. And I would just think, like, maybe right now you're able to monetize this somehow right now. But I really, really do believe that we are getting so close to that shit being unacceptable and embarrassing. And maybe I'm being naive because maybe most people can't tell the difference, but I think eventually people are going to be able to tell the difference, and they're going to not want that. That is going to be the most basic bitch stuff that you could be associated with, you know?
And you and I have already talked about this a little bit, and I think it's something that you and I both want to expand on in a future episode. But I think the key to getting the world to accept blandness and the key to getting the world to like be okay with AI slop is to train them to be like you. Only way you keep us there is by actively trying to move individualism. And us, if you've ever been to Japan, which obviously, look at my background, I've been 4 times, and I won't
You love
shut up about
Japan.
it.
I've never been. I've never been, but
I've only
I
been twice,
want
so,
to
but I
go.
feel like I've been 4 times. But I brought my sister, and she dresses really crazy. Like she's like the most like uniquely dressed human being in the whole entire world. And at first I was like, that's going to be fine. And then I show up in Japan, in Tokyo specifically, and a lot of people think that Tokyo is like everybody's like Harajuku girl there. Actually, they're extremely conservative, and they're all dressed. All the women are dressed very similar, and all the men are dressed very similar. It's like they all have a uniform and very plain clothed. And I also noticed that none of them were wearing sunglasses, and it was like super bright out. And I went and looked it up, and it was like they don't wear sunglasses because it draws it's like the equivalent of wearing like a crazy hat. Like they feel like it draws attention to them, and like it's because they have a more collective group vibe, which is can be good. Like they don't aren't are obsessed with themselves. They are more group minded. It's about keeping on the family business. It's not about your hopes and dreams. And so there's a lack of individualism there. America is the complete opposite.
Oh,
But the thing about
complete opposite.
the
Yeah.
Japanese and even Chinese, they're a lot more well behaved over there in terms of abiding by the government's hope wishes. So They are much more in line. So
Mm-hmm.
even though you go to Japan and you're like, God, it's so great here because everybody's following the rules, the darker underbelly of that is that there's not a lot of individualism and not a lot of space to live out your hopes and dreams. And that's why what makes America so amazing, but it's also why they can't control us and because we
Yeah.
don't all share the same values. So the more
Yeah.
blandness that we push out into the world and we make more acceptable, the more controllable we are. And
Yeah.
so we can't you and I's desire that this is going to change and that this is going to reverse is us wanting to keep the American dream going and our wanting to see that there is hope for people who have their own unique values and own unique paths in life. And when we see this AI slop and people just accepting it, it feels like I don't know. We like to think that we're gonna rebel against it, but will we? I don't know.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Okay, there's one more thing I want to bring up about this. Did you hear about the two Doge Bros?
We're gonna go here because
We're gonna go here.
All right, let me sit up a little straighter because when I said earlier that I love men and I want them all to be okay, I would like to make an exception. These two little cunts, and I will bleep that word out, but I don't know. You take over because if I see these little smug faces again, I am gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it.
Sometimes I forget. I don't forget. Like all you have to do is go on X for like 4 seconds, and you will be reminded of the attitude of a tech bro. But when you haven't been in a room or seen a tech bro in his 20s up close and personal, you kind of forget how unbelievably atrocious they can be. But we were very quickly reminded when the depositions of Justin Fox and Nate Kavanaugh were released. Now, these are two 20 somethings who were recruited by Doge and were active participants in infiltrating the government and reducing the deficit by canceling all the grants that were related to DEI. So they got sued, rightfully so, and the depositions just came out. And I just want to show you a clip from each of them that will just give you an idea of their attitudes. Stand by.
How do you interpret DEI?
There was the EO explicitly laid out the details. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
It's okay. I'm asking for your understanding of it.
Yeah, my understanding was exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay. So can you?
I don't remember what was in the EO.
So right now, do you have an understanding of what DEI is?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's
Yeah.
your understanding as you sit here today in this deposition?
Well, it was exactly what was written in the EO. And so anytime that we would look at a grant through the lens of complying with an executive order, we would just refer back to the EO and assess if this grant had relation to it.
Okay. But I guess stepping back from your methodology strictly in terminating the grants, do you have an understanding as you sit here today of what DEI means?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding of what it means?
Well, it is exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay. So
And I don't have.
Okay, so this video is 4 minutes. I could scroll to the end, and he is still saying,
It wouldn't be capturing enough of how big the topic is. DEI is very broad.
he won't admit that he does know what DEI is. So Justin Fox, what he did is he went in to a government agency that does all these humanities grants, and he basically dumped that, like the list of all of the humanities grants that were pending, and then asked ChatGPT which of these have to do with DEI. and it like gave him the list, and then he was like, cancel those. So without verifying, he just canceled them. What the keyword detection list in his DEI association was gay, indigenous, tribal, melting pot, equality, homosexual, LGBTQ, and any grant mentioning a specific ethnicity, race, gender, or religion. 1,477 grants canceled, 100 million clawed back. So he very quickly used it. Oh, and one of them that was canceled, an example, Holocaust documentary, Italian American Archives, Appalachian photography, native language preservation, museums, HVAC repair. I mean, it was just like completely subjective. And his, what do you call someone's partner in crime? His accomplice. His accomplice, I don't know, arguably worse.
I think this guy's worse. I think he's worse.
He's got evil, evil inside him.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of shame in Justin Fox. This other guy, what's his name?
Nate Kavanaugh.
Nate Kavanaugh. Nate Kavanaugh has zero shame. He's like, zero. Fuck you, bitches. I would do it again tomorrow. Like, so he's worse, I think.
You don't regret that people might have lost important income to support their lives?
No. I think it was more important to reduce the federal deficit from $2 trillion to close to zero.
Did you reduce the federal deficit?
No, we didn't.
This is a history of the HIV/AIDS prison movement and its legacies in the United States. My book project narrates how activists fought the convergence of HIV/AIDS and incarceration from inside and outside prisons across the Reagan through Clinton years, and argues that this organizing holds legacies in the prison abolition movement of the 1990s to today. This is one of the grants that you or Mr. Fox identified as craziest at NEH, is that right?
That's right.
Why did you identify this as one of the craziest grants?
Because it references feminist and queer insights into prison abolition and LGBTQ studies.
Any other reasons?
No.
Do you have any history in, like, let's say, scholarly peer review?
No.
Okay. So, but this judgment call was made by you and your personal judgment combined with Justin's personal judgment to cancel grants based on DEI?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's inappropriate in any way that someone in their 20s with no experience with grants or federal government was making personal judgment calls about what grants to cancel?
No, I don't think it's inappropriate.
Okay. Why not?
I think a person can have enough judgment from reading books and being well informed outside of traditional experience to make judgment calls about obvious things like a grant that literally lists DEI in its description to know whether it violates an executive order.
I'm sorry. I'm saying books because you said books. What books would you have read that would have informed your opinion on what grants to cancel based on DEI?
There were no books.
This kid is gonna get a ton of investment after this. He is like your classic kid who dropped out of college to start a nonsense AI company, and it got bought by some random other company. So he got cashed out, worked for Doge, and now he's starting another company. He started it recently after Doge, and now he's going to be seen as probably a hero to some MAGA investors. And I think he wants to start a political campaign. So like this deposition just probably boosted him.
Wow. He is repulsive. Like, repulsive. And one thing that Jess, you and I sort of talked about off air earlier, that I think is worth just bringing up to our audience. Look, I never lived in Silicon Valley. I never worked for a big tech company. But I feel like the tech guys from the olden days, when I say the olden days, I'm talking about early 2000s, like those dudes, early to mid 2000s, maybe the 2010s even, it was a different type of tech bro. It was a nerdier, much nerdier guys who really like love to build things, and they got super excited about the tech, and they genuinely like wanted to make like really awesome tech, and they were much nerdier, you know.
And then they got rich.
And then they got rich. But I think like with AI now, because it's like a super fast way, it's attracting a lot of grifters. Building an AI company, you don't necessarily need a ton of skill. You don't necessarily need to be really smart at computer science or anything like that. But you have to be a good grifter. And if you go ahead and like create, like I think I said earlier, it's like buying a lottery ticket. Like you create all these AI companies, and maybe one of them, some investor might be dumb enough to like throw a ton of money into it. And because of that, we're seeing a different type of tech guy emerge. And they are these like fraternity bros who used to be the kind of guys who would like drop out of college, and then you would see them trying to sell you some weird protein powder or some like, they were like, you know, it was like that type of guy, the grifter type of guy who came out of the frat house and was like, oh, I'm going to monetize everything. And like, you just got to buy my subscription to these weight loss pills and blah, blah, blah. Like, it was that type of guy. They are now seeing crypto and AI as a way to make a quick buck. And I don't think they're particularly talented. I don't think they're particularly intelligent, but they're excellent grifters. That is who AI attracts. And honestly, I miss the old nerdy tech guys. You know, I think of that show. I think of that show Silicon Valley, and those guys were at least likable. I know it was a fictional show; it wasn't a documentary. But
I think it really did set us back from understanding how evil tech bros were. We
yes,
were like, oh, we're
really
fine.
Did.
We're fine.
Yeah, we were like, these guys are harmless. Like they just, you know. And now, yeah, we're seeing these evil sociopaths who have these super right-wing agendas, and they're using the tech to push their political agendas and to get so much money that they never have to be held accountable for anything for the rest of their lives. And it's like super depressing.
And they're being deposed right now. I mean, the government is going to be liable for their behavior, but this could be another. And the reason Justin Fox in that video is not admitting he knows what DEI is, he knows what DEI is. He's been coached to pretend that he doesn't. You'll often see in cases like this, people are pretending to just be stone cold dumb because you'll be way off the hook. He would rather pretend he doesn't know what DEI is, because if he doesn't, he can blame the AI. The AI decided what DEI was. I didn't decide. I just put in what the executive order said. I didn't make those decisions. So he has to sit there and for 5 minutes. I mean, it's to the point in that video, he's laughing and the guy interviewing him is laughing because they both know what's going on here, which is that he is going to play this circular game of like, I'm not going to say what you want me to say, but he's also not allowed to, won't say that he refuses to answer the question. And that is such a, and that's why I added it to this segment, because it's somebody setting themselves up to blame AI for, breaking the law, making a mistake.
My God.
Sweating up a storm here.
Oh, okay. Well, let me end really quick on a positive note, which we've seen a lot of, once again, douchey tech bros using AI for evil. Okay? Nate and Justin, fuck you. You're disgusting. I hope you never get laid again. You are repulsive.
Say the exact same thing.
You are so repulsive.
Yeah.
But now I want to draw attention. We talked a few weeks ago about Gmail. I didn't know the story behind the creators of Gmail, but basically when the Department of Injustice, as I will now be referring to it, did a huge dump of the Epstein files, sloppily, like, redacted all these perpetrators' names, left the names of the victims out there, dumped it all, hoping that nobody would have the resources to be able to, like, dig through this in any type of orderly fashion. Someone went online and created Gmail, which is an exact replica using the documents that have been shared. So obviously not all the documents have been shared, but there were a fuck ton that were. He created Jeffrey Epstein's email inbox. It looks just like Gmail. If you go to Gmail, I think it's gmail.world, you can go in there and you can fucking click on like you're in his inbox, and it links to all the files. What makes it even better is that they made sure that all the victims are properly redacted. Their photos, their names, their information. They took this step that the Justice Department did not do and redacted all the information about the victims. And they unredacted, they had a system where they were able to sort of figure out who was who, and they unredacted some of those abusers' names.
Wow.
I was using Gmail for a couple of weeks ago. I was on there every night, and I'm very heavily invested in this story, and I want to see justice for all the fucking victims. I never knew the backstory about who created Gmail. I was just imagining it was some, I don't know, middle-aged computer scientist who was like, let me do this. It's not. So one of the independent journalists that I subscribe to her Substack, we talked last week with the whole Larry and David Ellison monopoly situation. I now, rather than subscribing to Paramount Plus and shit like that, I put my money into investing in independent journalists. So one of the independent journalists who I subscribe to is Tara Palmieri, and she does a ton of coverage of the Epstein files. She's been doing it for years. Her and Virginia Giuffre, which was one of Epstein's main victims, had a whole podcast together a couple of years ago. She is like tirelessly trying to bring light to this story. She interviewed the creators of Gmail last week. I swear to God, when I clicked on this video and saw these two baby angels pop up on my screen, it's this adorable, nerdy, sweet angel of a boy. He looks 18. He's probably in his early 20s. And this adorable Asian girl, like, just imagine the most wholesome, beautiful little tech babies who want to use tech for good. It's them. It gave me so much hope. And the reason why they started getting an interest in this case is because they are both MIT students, and they found out that Epstein had a lot of ties to academia. And there were professors at MIT who were associated with Jeffrey Epstein. We saw from the files there are a lot of fucking professors doing shady shit. And a lot of the time, Jeffrey Epstein was trying to infiltrate academia because there's a lot of young women there, right? He was trafficking young women. One of his very early victims, the very first victim, Maria Farmer, her sister was abused by Jeffrey Epstein. But he was essentially like, what do you call it? He would have these like endowments or these like student donations, like grants that he would, scholarships, yeah. So these two students, they were like, this is wrong. This is really bad that like people who are being put on a pedestal here at MIT have these like shady associations. They go through the whole story in this interview about how they created it and the process that they went through. I swear there has to be a movie made about this at some point. It is fascinating, and it fucking restored my faith in the future generations of tech kids. If someone's going to be making AI, if someone is going to turn out to be like a super powerful tech person, I hope it's these kids. I hope they never get corrupted, because they were so pure, they were so smart, they were so human. We're so used to seeing these tech guys come out and say sociopathic stuff where you're just like, are you even a real fucking person? So many of these other guys, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Elon, they don't even seem like human beings anymore. Anyway,
They haven't had practice having normal human conversations. Yeah.
I highly recommend go to the Tara Paul Mary show. If you want to subscribe, she does such great work. She has a Substack called The Red Letter, but go to her feed. She's on Spotify, she's on YouTube, and watch this interview if you want a little bit of hope restored that there are people who are at the forefront of using this fast progressing technology who actually are using it for a good cause. I wanted to end on a positive note, and I think if you go and watch that interview, you'll feel even more positive about everything. But let's not get lazy about keeping our fucking eyes on the rest of these sociopaths, all right? We will not
Agreed.
sleep on that. Yeah. You guys, thank you again. Another gigantic fucking episode. We're
Mega
really
episode.
maybe we should like cut down our outlines a little bit because they're getting long.
Yeah.
But we got a lot to say. We
do.
Thank you so much. As always, follow us on Instagram, TikTok. Where else are we? Spotify. YouTube,
Subscribe.
always. Yes, you got to subscribe, you guys. You got to subscribe. We love you, and we'll be back next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to Artificial Insanity. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. Our username is @SophieandJess. We're also on Instagram @ArtificialInsanityPod and TikTok @SophieandJess_AI. If you like the show, please hit the follow button, share it with a friend, or leave us a review. Thanks. Bye. Love ya.